Hi everyone, I'm Laura Rice, Chief Curator at the Adirondack Experience, the museum on Blue Mountain Lake. It's winter time again, and for those of you with small children, you'll know that pushing a stroller through snow, slush, and on ice can be a daunting proposition. It doesn't always work very well. So back in the 19th century, however, it's a little bit easier with something like this. This is a small push sled made for a young boy by his father, William Foote, in the 1890s. He outfitted it quite nicely with this beautiful brocade, padded seat, and carpet to keep his son's foot warm. It's that time of year when the temperatures start dropping and ice is forming now on our lakes and ponds across the Adirondacks. During the 19th century and well into the 20th, in fact, before commercial refrigeration was available to most households here, that ice played an important role in the year-round life of people living here and playing here. Before commercial refrigeration, ice was the only thing we had to keep things cool and preserve them. So Adirondack caretakers, camp owners, locals would gather usually in February when the ice was thick enough to cut large blocks of ice from the local lakes and ponds to fill their ice houses. And in fact, Adirondack ice became so important as urban areas grew, Troy, Albany, New York City. A lot of Adirondack ice was actually shipped out of the park to large urban areas to serve as refrigerants there as well. One block of ice from the Adirondacks made it all the way to London, England, where it was displayed for Queen Victoria to see. These tongs were used at the Bonnie Bell Farm in Chestertown area in Warren County, and these are typical of the ice tongs used when ice blocks, which sometimes weighed as much as 600 pounds, were delivered to local households for their use. With winter driving conditions being dicey at times, certainly in the Adirondacks on our small, twisty Adirondack roads, having a good set of snow tires is an excellent idea, but they didn't always exist. In 1928, Earl Covey, who owned a camp called Covewood in the Big Moose area, was working outside in icy conditions on snow-covered and ice-covered paths around his camp. Because he was wearing a pair of crepe rubber-soled boots, he had no problem making his way around and standing up straight. But he got a hole in the bottom of those boots, had to go inside when his foot got wet, swapped out those boots for another pair with a different kind of sole, and found it was so slippery he couldn't stand up. When a couple of cars and a truck nearby got stuck in the snow, it occurred to him that maybe if tires had a crepe rubber covering, they too might help trucks and other vehicles get around in the winter snow. So he invented the first winter snow tire in the United States, called the Polar Grip tire. He had a contract for a while with the Firestone Company, which made a number of these tires, sold throughout the Northeast and especially locally. He had a pair, or a set, I should say, sent to the Utica Electric and Gas Company for testing. The company liked them so much, they ordered 50 more. The problem is that crepe rubber doesn't last. It wears very easily, so it wasn't very practical to have to replace the snow tires every few weeks or months. So the tire company, Firestone, said, we're done, we're not going to do this until you find a way to make this more durable. But Earl Covey didn't have the resources or perhaps the inclination to pursue it further, and so the Polar Grip tire went the way of the dinosaurs. But it was a great idea that of course has lasted well into the 21st century. It's the holiday season, and the spirit of giving has inspired me to pull out this wonderful print, which was done in 1892 and is part of a lovely Christmas story. This is a portrait of Adirondack guide Alva Dunning, also known as Hawkeye for his piercing blue eyes. He was quite a backwoodsman, very knowledgeable about the Adirondacks, had very little schooling, firmly believed that the earth was flat, and yet in spite of that became very good friends with the brilliant surgeon and physician, an Hungarian immigrant named Arpad Gerster, who had camps on Racket Lake and Long Lake. They became fast friends, and one day when Alva Dunning lost his pocket watch in a lake or pond as he was rowing his boat, Arpad Gerster heard about it and decided that he would do something for his friend. So he created this portrait of Alva Dunning based on a photograph by Seneca Ray Stoddard and sold copies of the print to summer residents and visitors around the Raquette Lake region. He raised enough money to replace Alva Dunning's original, not terribly expensive pocket watch with a real gold watch and chain, which he presented to him at a Christmas party. Alva Dunning was so delighted, he actually fainted from the surprise. Have a wonderful holiday season from all of us at the Adirondack Experience.